You hit the nail on the head when you said integrity in products. We make products for lots of companies, folks, and we have the largest manufacturing plant in the world. You hit the nail on the head when you said integrity in products. We make products for lots of companies, folks, and we have the largest manufacturing plant in the world of any network marketing company, and that includes Amway. Our plant is 25% bigger than the plant that they're constructing now, which is 317,000 square feet. And the industry is raving about Amway's building this huge plant. Well, I built a 440,000 square foot plant before I sold my first distributor kit. And Amway's about 60 or 70 years old. So you take a look at that and you realize I made a commitment to start with because I believed in what I'm doing. And the fact is, it isn't just belief, it's knowledge. I know that I can produce products far superior to any other in the marketplace. Not that I'm more brilliant, but because I have the desire to do so. And I have the economic situation to where it allows me to do that. First of all, the company is big and it's well structured. It has completely automated software, the most high-tech pharmaceutical grade manufacturing plant in the world, and it's all paid for. I've invested about $150 million in this, and it's all my money. No dividends to pay to shareholders, no loans or interest to pay back, no rent, none of that. We're debt-free. And because we manufacture our own products, it gives us about a 300 or 400% margin that ordinarily would pay to somebody else to do it. So we take that money and we can put 3 and 4 times the money into building a product that is not better than, but that is vastly superior to the almost always mediocre or very poor performing products that competitors are selling. Now that might sound a little bit snobbish, but I don't mean it that way. The problem is in business they have an economic model, and there's usually a product is marked up somewhere around 10 to 20 times depending on what it is. And we find coffee is about the same way too with it. But you have to because of advertising. In fact, in cosmetics, 52 cents out of every dollar the retail customer pays goes just for advertising alone. So when you look at cosmetics, personal care products, almost without exception, the cap that's on the bottle costs more than what's in it. And does that mean that a $150 bottle of Clinique or Lancome or Estee Lauder, the cap on the bottle costs more than what's in it? Yeah, that's generally what we've found in almost every case. And it's the same with dietary supplements. There's a lot of flim-flam that goes on with these, and people will use a product, and it's just like in coffee. They're saying that we have companies that are selling MLM, that are selling Ganoderma-based coffee, and they say it's the greatest, it's the king of all herbs, according to the Chinese, and it's 100% organically certified. Well, first of all, Ganoderma is not an herb. It's a mushroom. It's not even classified as an herb. So, misquote there, but they don't know what they're talking about. To start with, they don't make their own products. The second thing is when you take a look at a product that is 100% organically certified, okay, it costs a lot of money to get that, and you pay 2-3 times as much just to be able to say that. Where if you have a product that is green, that means no herbicides or pesticides used, you can say that, but you can't say 100% organically certified because there's a lot of cost involved with that. But it really doesn't cost these companies that are doing coffee much because they put such a small amount of Ganoderma in it from what we've seen that it's like waving a chicken over a pot of boiling water and saying, I made chicken soup. It's so minuscule. In fact, there's one analysis that an independent consultant did on one of the leading Ganoderma coffee companies said there was less than 1 part per million of Ganoderma in their product, and yet it says it has Ganoderma and 100% organically certified. Sure it is, but less than one part per million. Do you really think you're getting any effect? You're not. And so with what we do is, yeah, we use 100% organically certified Ganoderma, and we lose a lot more than they do, but it's not the king of herbs. It might be the queen of mushrooms, because actually the true king of that is Chaga. And we use both Chaga and Ganoderma. And Ganoderma is good, but Chaga is great. And the difference between good and great is tremendous. In fact, is the other 2 ingredients we use, which is Gotu Kola and also Bacapa, I think are both superior to Ganoderma in their health benefits too. So we put all 4 of them together. But of all the ingredients, chaga, I believe, is by far the most powerful one. It's one of the most nutritionally dense products, plant-based products, that's in nature, and it has huge amounts of some things in it. One of it is superoxide dismutase, which is the most important anti-aging enzyme that your body naturally produces. And we harvest chaga and then we concentrate it about 10 times and then put it into our coffee. And there's more superoxide dismutase in a cup of coffee than if you took 2 capsules of it that are sold to the public as superoxide dismutase, and it's really quite expensive that way. But because we process it through chaga and use it there, we have an enormous amount of superoxide dismutase in there in the coffee alone. In the coffee itself, I'm bouncing around a coffee right now, but it all starts with the bean. If you have a poor bean, how can you expect to have a good quality coffee? And most of these MLM companies are using the coffee bean, which is the Robusta, and you'll even see them advertise it. And they say Robusta because somebody made up that name. Well, it is Robusta because it's the highest caffeine content of any coffee, and you sure get the jitters, withdrawals, and crash from the caffeine level that high. But the Robusta bean only has half the chromosomes of some of the Arabic coffee beans, and it's an un-Arabic bean. And there's different grades of those, and you get up there where you start getting into Blue Mountain coffee from Jamaica and Colombian coffee. Those are really good coffees, but the best coffee in the world by far is the coffee from Panama, and it's called the Bouquet Geisha. Now, not like a geisha girl, but geisha, G-E-S-H-A, coffee. Yeah, it's the very best bean. It produces the most flavonoids, and it has the best chromosome mix to produce more flavor. And the other thing that makes coffee bean great is the elevation that it's grown at. Most of these coffees are grown on plantations at low levels. That means the sunlight that gets to them a lot of it is filtered out before it gets to the earth by the atmosphere. And with the Panamanian coffee, the Bouquet that we use, it's grown at a very high altitude on the sides of mountains and volcanoes in this valley. And there's good reason for it to be there too, because the soil is very sweet. And most of these other plantations are grown on limestone soils, and they're very sour. So you get a bitter sour coffee with them. You have a poor bean, low elevation, so it doesn't respond to the cosmetic radiation at low levels that beans do at high levels where there's not very much atmosphere. When you don't have much atmosphere, more cosmic rays hit the bean, and the bean produces more flavonoids to protect itself against cosmetic radiation. Those are antioxidants, folks. So the antioxidant level is very high in this coffee naturally. And the chlorogenic acid, which is the main component of coffee, is really abundant in this one, and it makes it a health coffee in and of itself. But because it's the best bean, it's grown in sweet soil, and it's grown at the high altitude, it's the best tasting bean in the world. So when I say the difference between good and great is tremendous, it really is. The difference between it and any other bean in the world is really a vast difference. And if you go to these Robusta beans, I mean, they're really poor beans. They're right on the bottom of the scale, but multi-level marketing companies are selling them because they're cheap and easy to buy, but the flavor is bitter, and they feather dust it with a little bit of Ganoderma and maybe a few other things and say you've got a health coffee. Well, I guess that's their interpretation of it. Mine is not. The Bouquet bean from Panama has been rated now for 12 consecutive years by the World Coffee Association, and they have a organization of professional tasters that taste coffee, and for the past 12 consecutive years, it's been rated as the #1 coffee in the entire world for flavor. It's also the #1 for health. And so with that, you have that tremendous coffee, and then we fortified it with all these healthy ingredients in therapeutic doses, and so that you have a health coffee and a delicious tasting coffee like you've never had before. Now, interestingly enough, to give you a little comparison, Starbucks was just ranked as the #1 best tasting coffee of the top 20 coffee companies in the world, top 20 selling coffee in the world. So of the 20 best sellers, it was ranked #1 for flavor. And it should be because they have they use some Colombian coffee. I think it's about 92% Colombian, and then about 8% or maybe 10, but I think it's 8% of the Panama bouquet coffee. They call it a Romar, and that's their own private name for it. We could call it a Romardar or some other thing like that if we wanted to. Wouldn't want to be deceptively similar, but we just call it what it is. It's the Panamanian bouquet geisha coffee, the world's best tasting coffee. We use the same bean that they do. The difference is where I think they're using 8%, we use 100%. Then they micro grind it, and they talk a lot about micro grinding because it's a lot different than freeze drying to make an instant coffee. This freeze drying destroys most of the properties that are in coffee, and sure, it dissolves fast, but you've lost most of the value. It's driven off when you freeze dry it. And with microgrind, you keep all of those values there, but it's expensive to microgrind. And so they use some microgrind with their Colombian, and that combination is ranked as #1 in the top 20 selling brands in the world. But ours will rank, there's a coffee taster's cup is what they call it, a coffee wheel. Ours will rank much higher than that because we just use the pure bean itself. The Chilean beans, the Colombian beans, the beans from those regions, Costa Rica, are normally in the 70 range, and the beans that we use are about 90 on the scale. The Robusta bean from Malaysia and Indonesia and Brazil and places like that are about 60, so you can see the difference between it. But because we want to, just like our products, we want to make the world's best coffee, best tasting coffee, most healthy coffee, we went and bought a micro grinder, and we've installed our own coffee manufacturing plant in this gigantic facility we have. The reason we did it is because we could not afford to buy this expensive bean, the Panamanian bean, and to have somebody else process it. There's about 7 or 8 fingers in the pie before coffee ever gets sold to you, from the picker to the growers to the associations that sell it to the trade companies that barter it to the manufacturers that buy it, selling it to the distributors, and then to the dealers, and then to the retailers, and then to you. See, that's a lot of people involved in it. So we eliminated all that by, #1, buying directly. And we're in the process of looking at our own plantation there to buy, actually, too. And we're buying up most of this next year's crop because we don't want to run out of this great tasting bean. There's a limited supply. In fact, is in Japan they sell it. We just had the Japanese distributors over, and they were marveling that we were selling that coffee for the price that we were, because it's about $150 a pound in Japan. In fact, Starbucks does have one they sell that is a bag, and it's an 8-ounce bag of pure Panamanian bouquet geisha coffee, and it sells for $129.95. Well, we're going to have 50% more, a 12-ounce bag, and it's going to sell for about $25, not $129.95. And so you can see, by having our own plant, by not having all these people involved in the middle of it, by producing our own coffee, we can make the world's finest coffee, the best tasting in the entire world, we believe, and also with the greatest health products in the world, we believe, and we think the science will back us up. So that's what our coffee's about. So now we just have the black, and the mocha is out now, too, and the latte will be out this next week, and then we'll be working on the weight loss coffee, and the bag coffee will be out within 2 weeks, so we'll have that for you. And then further down the road, we'll have a K-Cup and a K-Cup dispenser, so you can make yourself an espresso or a regular cup of coffee, and that machine will be very inexpensive but high-tech. All those things we're doing like no other company in the world is doing. And we're going to have dispensers, so you can go out and put dispensers in places, and you can take credit cards or cash if you want with the dispensers. And we'll have honor boxes that you can put into businesses and places to work with, and we'll have kiosks. And all of that is evolving and coming, because we're going to be the #1 player in the world for selling coffee. Oh, we may not ever be as big as a Folgers, or Nescafe that has in so many hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of stores around the world. But in network marketing, we'll be by far the biggest. And I think we could be bigger than many of the coffee shops that are selling coffee around, because we could have tens of millions of distributors using it and selling it. And the commission plan is so lucrative. We have a second commission plan just for coffee, and the income stream is it gives you a second income stream, and now you can get paid for drinking coffee. So that's kind of the story on coffee we have right now. There's lots of new literature was just printed just yesterday, so we have now brochures that are coming out. We're putting many more things, sales aids, we're doing videos, all of those things to help you, because we think coffee could take us to a $2 or $3 billion a year mark in just sales alone. And when you take a look at all the other products we have, which are so highly advanced in comparison to anything else in the market, be it a mouthwash or a toothpaste or skincare, they're just not the same with Sisel. These products are really powerful. They're based on real science. You can trust the science. You can trust Sisel. We're doing it the way it should be. And I'll tell you what, I don't know anyone else that is. So because we have all that and we're debt-free and I have no partners, no dividends, and I share the wealth. And Pat is right. I didn't have to do this company. I sold my other for a fortune and could have retired had I wanted to, but I didn't want to retire. So I sold my previous company, the 5th largest multi-level marketing company in the world, and I didn't go out of the business, because I'm not looking to make more money. I'm looking to help people to become happier, healthier, and more prosperous. That's the mission of the company. We can only do that with the highest paying compensation plan that has ever been created, paying out 2, 3, and 4 times what other plans pay, and products that are vastly superior, not better than, but that are vastly superior to the world of mediocre products that most people have no choice but to buy them. Sure, they're better than nothing, and some of them are okay, but the difference between okay and good is quite a bit, and the difference between good and great is tremendous, and we are in the area of all our products are great because we can afford to make them that way, and we do. So anyway, that's my little bit for tonight's call. I know you only run a half an hour or so, and I've taken up quite a bit of that time. Congratulations on your 100th call, and you need to get your rear in gear now, because people are we're really getting some big leaders coming over from the other coffee companies too, lots of them, because they have a bitter tasting coffee. You have to gag a gallon down, and they're just jumping in this thing like crazy because of how great this coffee is and tastes, and how much more the compensation plan pays. We just compared with one of the Gano coffee companies, and with 5 distributors that got 5, they made about $1,400 a month. With ours, they made over $4,000 a month, and that's pretty typical. And so we've got this tremendous compensation plan, this tremendous product line in coffee, and then you go to the other products. You want to grow younger? I don't mean slow aging. Want to grow younger? Yeah, we can do that. We've got that kind of chemistry. Want to lose weight like Pat has and many others? We have got the best weight loss system in the world, and it goes on and on. Want to regrow hair on bald heads? We've got that too for you. You want inner cheeks? It turns your biology back to when it was like you in your 20s. We're going skin, hair, nails, everything, pushing up wrinkles. Yeah, we've got that too. So you see, they're amazing things. So if it sounds too good to be true, hey, it must be Sisel, because we're taking the most advanced science in the world, things you've never heard of, and bringing out today for you to sell and to build your business. So product testimonies are great, but the testimonies that really count are the people that are taking these products and this compensation plan and creating real prosperity and even wealth for themselves. That means they're really accomplishing a lot.